Gen Z is entering the workforce with new perspectives and expectations.
In this podcast, we're here to listen to their stories and experiences, their successes and frustrations, and help employers understand the mindset and perspectives of the up-and-coming workforce.
Employers can't dictate what their young employees find meaningful. What they can do, however, is empower them to create their own sense of purpose and authentic connections.
Our curriculum is designed to help them do exactly that. East Valley Leader Lab is committed to paving the way for more curious, engaged, and connected young professionals in the workplace. Hello, I'm Tim Eskew. This is Amanda Stradling. We are East Valley Leader Lab, and this is our podcast, Mind and Body at Work. If our content resonates with you, we hope you'll click on the link in your show notes for a description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. I'm going to introduce today's guest. Welcome, Jorge.
Oh, nice to meet you. Yes, thank you so much for the invitation to the podcast.
Of course.
We're glad to have you here. Let me tell you a little bit about Jorge. Our guest today is Jorge Sanchez. Jorge is an experienced early childhood professional and programs manager with over 7 years in the field. With more than 3 years of management experience, Jorge brings a strong background as a preschool teacher and professional development coach. He currently serves as senior programs manager at Aliento, where he oversees daily operations, staff professional development, and ensures compliance with grants and programmatic requirements. Is that all?
I guess so, right? In just a nutshell. So yeah,
it's a pretty big job.
It is. It is.
At a great organization.
And exactly, absolutely. Yeah, that's part of what I do, working at Aliento, and part of my job is oversee the 3 departments that they have. So It's always a pleasure and a privilege to have the opportunity to have that large impact with Aliento.
It sounds like a big job. We're going to learn more about it. I want to remind our audience that, especially if you've been listening or watching to our episodes in order, you've seen our recent interview with Lupe Jiminez. And Lupe shared her experiences entering the workforce, including her job at Aliento. So Jorge is Lupo's manager at Aliento.
Correct,
just for that context.
I'm so happy that she had the opportunity to share her experience. Such a great high performer that we have at Aliento. So we're so happy to have Lupe.
We could see that in the interview.
I bet.
Very competent.
Yeah, and a deeper cut from last season, we had Reina, the CEO of Aliento, on.
Oh, yes. One of our biggest leaders at the organization. Such a great model within Aliento. So happy to hear, what they have bring to the podcast and hopefully continue to contribute to that.
Yeah, we're glad to have a relationship with Aliento. It's a very important organization.
Love it.
Yeah, and thanks for adding your voice to the story. We want to hear about your personal takes and perspectives.
Love it. I'll be happy to share.
Great. All right, let's dive into some questions. Do you see employees accomplishing their tasks differently from when you first entered the workforce?
Ooh, I would have to say that when I entered the workforce, AI was not a thing at the time, right? So I think there has been so much tools that have been developed to improve the workforce and task management every day when it comes to project management, researching materials. I think when I first started, I had to still read a lot of books, still read a lot of articles, versus now you have a lot of tools where you can just type in the question of what you need and they'll send you a huge list of resources, articles, and tasks already completed for you with sheets. So yes, if I see a difference between when I first started, there is a huge difference on how people produce tasks in a quicker manner.
Yeah. Do you think that this is a lot more efficient? Are you guys accomplishing more than you were?
I do think that the utilization of new tools does impact with efficiency. I do see that tasks are getting done quicker compared to other times where sometimes creating a spreadsheet can take maybe a day or two with formulas and conditionally formatting, versus now, right? You can just use these tools and just type in what you need and you have a spreadsheet in less than a minute.
Wow.
Who's adapting to these new tools better? The new folks coming in or the people that have been around forever?
I think the new folks coming in, that's their norm already. For some of us, it's taking some time. We're still going to the old school methods, but I think you can see the adaptability going quicker with them.
I kind of expected that. And, we're doing this to help these young folks thrive in the workplace. And I think that's one of the things we hope organizations recognize is some of these new skills they've been practicing them, since day one.
Yeah, no, I think such a huge piece when it comes to the workforce. It's about how, as managers, we're trained ourselves to also know how to use these tools to support our Gen Zers as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Give us an example of that.
So, for example, one of the things that we go through, you'll see that Google Suites have like a professional development to learn how to use their tools effectively, and they embed some of those tools and skill sets. It's free professional development, so that's something that as management we try to be attuned. So when we get new workforce, we know how to best support them in developing their skills.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. How many of the workers under you at Aliento would you say are in that Gen Z window?
I have at least 90% of the employees that I have under me are Gen Zers.
Really?
Yes, I only have one individual who is a millennial. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. They're all very young. This is their first career, of course, their first job, their first opportunity. Some of them have engaged before with Aliento and internships or the fellowship that they have. So they have some entry-level career experiences, right? Versus now some of them are in full-time roles, right? Where they have the opportunity to work as coordinators and managers and, support the overall functioning of the organization. So yeah, most of the organization that we have, staff, it's, Gen Zers.
That was kind of Lupe's story as well, right? She had participated in Aliento's services and benefited from Aliento, and then got more and more involved.
I think that's such a great strategy that Aliento really has. Aliento is a youth-led organization, so that's in their core mission, that everything that we do has to be started with youth, because we know that's where the majority of the change and the impact comes the most. And the programs that we have internally have a ladder of engagement, right? Which is not just you're coming in, receiving the program, and then you're done. You actually become engaged, because at some point we hope to see these youth becoming part of the workforce at Aliento or impact Aliento at some way. And Lupe is, a great story for that. She started at Aliento, participating in events, joining the fellowship. She was part of the third cohort of fellows, and then becoming a leadership development coordinator. So it shows that ladder of engagement, which is a way that Aliento uses as a strategy to loop in Gen Zers and the new generation of leaders.
That's great. I love that you are intentionally reaching out to Gen Z and that you're incorporating them as part of your workforce mindfully, that it's not just happening organically, but that is part of your goal. Yes.
That's one of the things that Aliento really thrives on, really making sure that our younger population, which is our Gen Zers, do have the opportunity to have these workforce experiences as well. Yeah, we had some interns as well, shadow visits with some students, because we want them to have that experience. Yeah.
So you've got this kind of continuous new blood, new folks that you can see them perform, and they're already sort of in your organization as clients. How do you think about retention? Do you worry about keeping people, long enough to have them make a big contribution, or are you always thinking about bringing new people in and let people go? I'm curious if it's any different than other organizations.
I feel like every organization runs very differently when it comes to situations with Gen Zers and the new population of people entering the workforce. I think from previous experiences, I come from organizations where we see that ladder of move up, like promotions of Gen Zers, goes quicker, because I think one of the things that it's new, right, to this Gen Zer culture is that they want promotions quicker.
That seems to be the case.
The case, yes. That's one of the things that we see. It's like, okay, I already did a year of teaching. I did a year of coordinator. Now I can be the next CEO, right? That's their next step. So we see the rush, right? We recognize that there is a need to move these individuals up, and we also see them acquiring skills a little bit quicker. And I think it's because, of the usage of technology and the usage of, access to information has become so easily that I think really supports the development of the skills, that I feel like that contributes as well to wanting to have a larger jump. Within
So their ambition it's partly justified because
Yes.
they are acquiring skills.
They are acquiring the skills quickly.
That's
Yeah.
neat.
I agree. So within Aliento, of course, we care a lot about retention. Like our biggest goal is to make sure that we retain staff, that we grow the talent, and of course that they moved into positions. We do have systems in place at Aliento to really support the development of leadership, to really see that growth in our coordinators, managers, of course, even myself, Jose really supports me when it comes to my professional development and then moving forward to a bigger position.
It's really, I think, unique from organizations that I have experience with in the past, where you're kind of, you recognize these people want to move fast, and so you're accommodating that and encouraging them to move fast and move up. That's really, really cool.
I still see some organizations still holding the standard of like, you need to have 10 years of experience in these fields and 10 years of experience in this position. But I think, Gen Zers are looking for the next move as quick as possible. And I think that really contributes to that. Yeah.
Well, your structure and organization provides some context for that I think some of our listeners maybe, work in a different context. So I think it's great for them to hear
it's an
about
opportunity
this.
to think about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
About how quick you move that. I know I attended a conference, which is the Association for Talent Development.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a large talent development conference.
Where was that held?
It was in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was 2023 when I went there. And one of the things that we were discussing in the conference, the theme was how do you allow Gen Zers to shadow and have opportunities of leadership within organizations, but also given the opportunity for them to move up quicker. So how do you, as human resources, are engaging your staff in providing professional development for them to boost into a higher position quicker?
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Great.
So we don't want to focus in on Lupe too much, but we have one question. She was obviously very competent, very well spoken, and I'm curious. Would you say that she's a typical young employee coming in, or how is she different, or what does that bring up for you?
I feel Lupe. I don't know. Sometimes the work ethic plays such a huge role. You can see Lupe's work ethic being a little bit very mature, right, when it comes to responsibilities and tasks. I would say that she would not be my average Gen Zer that I have experienced before. I believe just cultural backgrounds, family backgrounds, vision of the work and where she wanted to go really influenced her ability to really be such a great high performer and professional that you got to experience in the podcast.
That's great.
And I know she got some of that from being a client of Aliento, participating in Aliento projects. So I wondered if everybody comes in at that standard.
Well, I think Aliento has created a strong culture of because with your the art programs and stuff, from a young age, the kids are learning to present, right?
Yes.
And communicate well.
I think
it does instill a lot of confidence.
I do agree with that. I think the context and the programming that we offer requires high-level complex skills for our coordinators and our managers to be able to perform when it comes to delivering information to adults, to children, to students, to partners that we have out in the community, which really contributes to them in their professional skill set.
Yeah.
They have to do large event plannings, which is execution. They have to communicate to larger audiences sometimes. They are engaged in opportunities like this where they have to create podcasts, so they have to learn how to communicate, be professional. They have to be here on time, which those are soft skills, right, that we want to see in employees.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think if more companies had the opportunity to train in those types of soft skills, I think that more Gen Zs would be having more success, better retention, and there would just be a little less stress and anxiety around
the expectations of the workplace, correct?
Because they would be more ready to meet it.
Those soft skills are just the foundational skills, right, to see them succeed. Once those soft skills are set, we see our employees thriving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you've talked a little bit about your strategy for bringing in Gen Z because it happens naturally because you're serving the younger population. Anything else you want to say about how you're reaching out and including them and bringing them on board?
I have to say that the opportunities that these youth really have within Aliento are very Gen Z focused. I feel like, we get a lot of media exposure, social media content creation, social media development, which is embedded through all of our departments, which really kind of like feeds into that new idea of becoming an influencer and adapting to this new idea of the workforce, which Aliento really thrives to do a lot, which is moving along to like what's in the culture right now, what are our Gen Zers focus, and then how do we move the work that we're doing to kind of like adapt and understand where they're at so they find it engaging and willing to continue with us and grow and become the next leaders in the organization.
I love that you're really meeting them where their interests are and where they're at, rather than trying to drag them along to
this is the old policy that's been here for 10 years. This is how we've been doing it for 7 years. No, Aliento really thrives in understanding the culture of where we're at with our youth and trying to see the work that we do and how can we really meet them where they're at so they find it engaging and it's, achievable for them to have that larger impact in our programming.
That's great.
That's really great. It gives me a sense that what we're suggesting with our offer is on the right track because you guys are doing a lot of things that you can do that are in your power to accommodate them. But it also turns out that the services you provide build those leadership, build those maturity skills. And for organizations that, don't have this constant incoming stream of people that they've helped turn into good young leaders, we offer providing those types of leadership skills, particularly for this audience, because we think it's as much about them maturing a little bit and taking responsibility. And then if they work for a company that's willing to, encourage and accommodate them, they're really set up for success.
I would say that Aliento really, executes perfectly when it comes to supporting that leadership development and soft-skill development on our youth, starting if they start with us in the fellowship or if they are entering with us, because then we see that that's the impact that we want to see if they become Aliento employees with us.
So surely not every child that is participating in your program becomes an employee, right?
Correct.
That would be incredible.
That would be such a large organization. Yes.
What makes some of the kids join and some kids move on? And then after they join, what makes some of the young workers continue in Aliento versus move on?
I think,
or what similarities are you seeing between the people that stay versus leave?
I think one of the things that Aliento has is that they are public policy and advocacy driven, right? Of course, we have the immigration and education focus in our organization. So some of the employees that we have, right, are really invested in the work that we do in our mission and vision of the organization, which really contributes for them to stay with us and do the work that we do in the manner that we do it to really support, the larger community. We also see that it's based off interest, I would say, right? Most of the students that we have, including in the fellowship or entering, like they're all seeking degrees related to social justice, political studies, sociology, family development. So we see more on the public service side of, youth wanting to stay with us, right? And we also have the other side, right? The ones who are seeking opportunities in the medical field or health services or, engineering. And they will engage with us in a different capacity, but then they are in their pathways to pursue a different career choice and a different workforce experience.
They get a lot of the benefit and the training.
Yeah.
And then they apply it where their care lies elsewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You're getting people that are driven by different things.
We also try to see like the skill sets that they're bringing into the organization. And if we see an opportunity where they can help us, right, to like if it's I don't know, maybe we have somebody who's interested in programming. We have a digital and media department who sometimes support us in that. So they sometimes can help us create like website updates or content creation for social media. So we try to see like where their skill set is at and also try to support them and giving them those workforce career experiences so we know that we're prepping a great workforce.
That's great. It's all
Yeah.
about that alignment, right?
Yeah.
Like, does your care align with this company? Does your skill set align with this company?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we try to do for people to really see, like, is this something that you're seeking for, right? Is there something that you're really passionate? Let's try to find your passion because that's going to drive your interest and willingness to stay with an organization and to continue to grow and to continue to find your pathway into succeeding there. So
Yeah, and some of them have a care and a passion about a different field, right?
Yeah.
And you're helping them get off on the
to
right foot
understand, yes.
to go that
yeah.
direction.
Yeah, correct.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going to pivot a little bit, and I
Go
want to
for it.
ask you about I think it's an issue that a lot of organizations are dealing with right now.
Yeah, just like another modern problem, right?
Yep. Post-COVID, which is working from home. What is your policy, and how does your brilliant management team navigate that?
So part of what we do, we do a lot of program services that are, in classrooms at schools. So
Okay.
yeah, we go out to schools, like our Cultiva department is out in the schools doing workshops, our Transform department as well with college readiness workshops. So there's a lot of things that are in our day-to-day operations that have to be in office. However, Aliento does have 1 day a week that you can work from home.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
Some flexibility.
So there is flexibility, and of course, right, like they have the opportunity that 1 day a week they can work from home, and then the rest of the week they'll be in office or at schools providing services.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people spend part of their time in the field,
Yes.
part of their time in the office, and then they've got this
And then
a day that they can
yeah.
pick. They can pick what day they want to work at home
Yeah,
based
correct.
on their schedule.
It's Wednesday through Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So Mondays and Fridays are our block out days because we have meetings those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our mandatory meetings that we have. So, but those are the days that staff can take. Those are the things that we give our Gen Zers as part of the organization. But I do hear you on that. I do know that out in the workforce, it's such a huge trend right now that, that's the norm. That's not one of the requirements, right? Like, do they offer work from home, right? I think a lot of Gen Zers, that's one of the things that they're looking for in like job ads to see like,
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
job going to allow me to work from home, right?
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know, like, am I going to have an office? Is this actually having me a full-time job, right? Is this going to be a secure job? I think we see that a lot now, and I think that's the trend that will continue to grow.
And the policy you have, what kind of feedback do you get from the people who work there on your team?
I have to say that I think they are adapting to it.
Okay.
I think it gives them a good balance, because of course they have that opportunity of working from home, but also there's other benefits within the organization that really promotes wellness for the employee, which is another layer of it, right? And I think it has been working well with Aliento to have that 1 day from home. I know in the past, even before I started with Aliento, I think they were like multiple days that they can work from home. And I think during COVID, of course, we were all working from home.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a great adjustment and a new, policy that's been in place at Aliento.
That's
I
great.
remember when we had Reina on in the first season, that season was all about well-being in the workplace. And she had a lot of great things to say about what Aliento does intentionally for the well-being of their workers.
Yeah.
And it's cool that working from home is part of that.
Yes. That's one of the things that I have to say. Aliento really cares a lot for their employees, which is their wellness, right? Making sure that there's work-life balance, that you understand that you have your opportunity to work from home, adjust your schedule. I think there's also, of course, like the benefits of PTO and, sick time whenever it's needed, flexing time, which is, such a great piece for the workforce. And of course, we also have events that we do outside of work that are really promoting the wellness of the employees.
Great.
Yeah.
So I would say any young person would be fortunate to find themselves working at Aliento.
Correct.
But there must be some challenges.
Yes.
So can you think of an area that's showed up with the young folks, with the Gen Z folks that's been more challenging that you guys continue to try to work on?
Oh, how can I share this in a way that I'm not?
Don't call anyone out.
Yeah. Jikes.
Hypothetical?
In a hypothetical world, I think that punctuality and time management has been a huge impact, not only at Aliento, but also in the workforce. I would have to say that there is this, commitment to punctuality. Like, I don't know if I think of previous generations, like punctuality is like the number one thing, right? Like that shows your work ethic, right? Versus I feel like now work ethics has changed a lot, right? Versus like if you're 5-10 minutes late, that shouldn't be an impact to your work, right? That's, the vision of what the new workforce is coming. Time management, I feel the usage of social media and phone usage and access to media quicker has really impacted the day-to-day tasks sometimes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sometimes not always for the positive.
Yes. It comes with there's pros and cons, right? And you cannot have all full positives, right? Sometimes you're going to have those challenges that you face as an organization, and it's about how do you manage them, right? Like we understand that that's the norm, that's, the culture that we're in, but it's about how do you understand the balance between your job responsibilities and then the time that you have for usage of that, activity.
Yeah, I do think that what you brought up, media usage, can create some problems around time management for the younger generation. There's almost like a time blindness that starts to come when you've got screens
when you're in your
readily
phone,
available.
The moment that you don't think, sometimes you see a picture and then all of a sudden you're already 30 minutes into your phone and now you're 5 minutes late into the next meeting.
I am finding that with my children.
Yeah.
Like, getting the younger generation ready to graduate high school. And
there's not sense of awareness of time during that time. So
just a little oblivious.
So if you were talking to someone in that generation about, there's the issue, that we all work on and recognize, but where's the line? Like, has there been a situation where somebody just couldn't, they took it too far? What would that look like? And so I'm thinking of this in terms of advice to these young people. What's going too far with social media at work?
I think such an important piece is to talk to your supervisor to understand what is the need of you needing to be on your phone, and then also try to understand the cadence of the work that you're doing, right? Try to understand your job responsibilities and see like what are the policies in your organization to really know if that's the right fit for you, right? If what you're doing is actually accommodating to your actual needs, and like if the work it's aligning to what we talked earlier about your passion, and it's all those connections in between. It's about alignment, right? And I think that's a huge piece is please read your employee handbook. It has all the things that you're going to need to be successful in the workplace.
So there are some boundary conditions you need to have, right? And
correct.
they need to make themselves familiar with that and realize that's the way organizations
run,
sustain themselves, right? It's not just bedlam.
Yeah, I have to say that at Aliento we haven't had a situation where it has become a huge issue.
Good.
Our employees tend to be very receptive because they understand the value and the work that we do, that whenever a behavior like that is observed and we bring it up, it's typically adjusted in the moment, and they typically, correct themselves and, of course, take accountability, and then, they continue the work based on the expectations set.
I like that you kind of circled back to the value of the work.
Yeah.
Because if you can attach it back to that initial care, which they are aligned on, right? Then why would they not want to correct this minor
And that's
behavior.
At Aliento, we uphold reflective practices, which is really helping the employee understand how their behaviors, actions are really impacting, besides just me as a supervisor coming to tell you you're not doing A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's where, as management, right, we have to make sure that we support our employees and really helping them brainstorm and critically think about their actions and behaviors and how it impacts the work and how it impacts the value that they're in. So that's just Aliento's practices, and that we have seen such a great improvement with our staff performance when we come in and that reflective lens with them.
I love that change from the internal reflection versus external criticism.
Exactly.
Like, that is such a valuable shift to make. That's really great. As a leader.
I still see I've come from a different organizations where you get to have that external, but then I see the impact and I see the benefit, and I don't see anything positive coming out of that. So I do see both sides, right? And I understand that there's going to be times where compliance needs to be given, and sometimes there's going to be times that it's going to be a yes or no, or it's going to come direct to you, right?
Yeah. And it has to be quick.
And it has to be
it's gonna
quick,
be, yes.
But that's where you have to, as management, right, really understand your employees, where they're at, what are their interests, what are their knowledge, their skill set, their capacity to really critically think and analyze their situation, their behaviors, and then how do you support them in going into compliance? Yeah.
That's great. So we've talked about some of the challenges. Are there any tasks and jobs that you find Gen Z specifically thriving at? Like, it's a great fit. They're doing good in this
I don't
area.
know, social media.
Yeah.
I just heard earlier, like, I don't know, like social media, it's like whenever we have to do, just speaking about Aliento, right? Like, I do see them very creative and innovative and willing to like record themselves for like a 5-minute TikTok, and boom, all of a sudden we get this many views on those videos. So I do see them more on the creative lens and the innovative lens of social media, that they're thriving really well on that space.
We just had a guest on, 2 guests that are content creators.
Okay.
And one of them is full-time. That's her employment.
Yeah.
And she talked about how creativity was really one of her kind of core values, and that's part of why she works.
Yeah. I have to say, Lupe was such a great content creator to Aliento.
Oh.
Yeah, she created so many amazing social media posts. You can still see them at Aliento, please. But yeah, like that's what we see with our younger generation, with our Gen Zers, that they are more easily attracted to social media content creation, right? And that's where we see them thriving the most.
Well, because they grew up on it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the norm for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's the two sides of the social media, right? It can be a distraction for them, and then it can also be a value add that.
And that's where, as a manager, you have
do.
to know, right? How do you pull the strings, right?
Yeah.
How do you adapt that to support them?
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Are many of your younger workers stepping in? Well, you already described a ladder, but tell me about what it looks like when they're moving up into more like leadership positions.
As in,
like what would those positions be? Like, are some of them, do they want to move up and get more responsibility? Do they want to be leaders?
yes. So that's one of the things that we see, and just like ladder of engagement, right? Like we have coordinator level, manager level, program manager, and then senior programs manager, and then of course our VP.
Yes.
But we do see that our staff, it's eager to really take on responsibilities to lead projects, lead events. We do see that. I know that in one of my departments at Cultiva, the coordinators were really taking the lead in developing the curriculum and, what we were bringing out to the schools, which really shows that leadership and that shows that skill set at the managerial level, right?
Oh, nice.
And within Aliento, we have something called leadership competencies that those are skill sets that we want to see in employees to support them in growing in their professional journey. So
Right.
it shows us like what an intern should be doing, what a coordinator should be doing, what the senior coordinator should be doing, what the program manager should be doing, what a manager level should be doing, director level. And then we can see the skill sets, and then we can identify, okay, like through coaching, how can I get you there, right?
Yeah, and they're eager to
And you
to
see
do
them
that.
seeking those responsibilities. Part of what I do with them is to provide individualized coaching to them. So besides being their manager, right, and supervising all the departments, I provide coaching to make sure that our staff is on pathways to ensure that they reach the next level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And do you get that coaching also? Do you?
Yes.
Is this something that
Yes,
applies at all levels?
Sorry, yes, it's across the organization. So yeah,
Yeah.
my supervisor does go
The
through those.
VP,
Yes,
right?
The VP goes through those competencies with me, and of course he challenges me on the director level, of course. But
Wow.
it's a great opportunity because that shows the investment from the organization to really see the employees to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just want to ask a sort of side question about that.
Yeah.
With all of this one-on-one coaching and all these goals, and you see them growing,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like there's a lot of genuine connection at work the way you guys are doing this? Does this lead, do you feel like you're really getting to know them and like really connect with them?
I think it does provide some level of connection with them at a personal and professional level, because you really have to get to know them, as a whole, to be able to
Yeah.
know how to best support them. So I do think that these opportunities, like the professional development that's given at Aliento, and the coaching and the supervisions that we have, because we meet with employees weekly, and part of our check-ins is to see like, hey, we have personal goals, we have professional goals, how are you doing with those? So it does help to really build that rapport with your direct supervisee.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of care there
Yeah,
to the whole person.
it is.
That's really neat.
One of the things that we focus on in our course is the importance of the connection between the personal goals and the professional goals, right? So can you find a way, a job isn't going to be 100% things that I get up out of bed wanting to do every day,
Yeah.
right? But if I can connect to parts of the job and it really ties into my passion. So do you guys, just when you said personal goals and professional goals, do you think about that connection between the
Yes.
two?
So
Yeah.
part of what we do with staff is we have personal and professional goals, and we try to make sure that those are in alignment with Aliento's mission and vision. So there's also like you're growing professionally, like personally, but at the same time it's encompassing with the organization and benefiting the organization as a whole, to really work collaboratively and helping you acquire new skills or help you grow in your professional journey, and at the same time bringing that new knowledge and that new content to Aliento. So we try to balance them very well. Personal goals sometimes differentiate because those are very related to like our wellness goals, like
Yes.
the 6 wellness areas of intellectual, physical, emotional. So every employee will have a different personal goal, but we try to really we see that you need to be well in order to perform your job, right? If you're not sleeping
Absolutely.
well and that's a goal that you want to work on, of course, let's set up a goal. Let's set up a SMART goal for that.
Wait, does that involve naps?
I'm sorry, no, that's not the case.
I was going to say, I might. I'm gonna
That
have to
would
look
be a
into working
10-hour
there.
shift, maybe. No, that's funny.
We
Yeah.
did interview one company, one guy from a company, and he talked about how on Fridays he brings in a lady or a group of ladies, I think, that did chair massages.
Oh,
So they had
that's such a great.
massages, not naps at
Yeah.
work, but I don't know.
I know.
Sounded pretty relaxing. To
At Aliento, we are hosted under the Helios Education Foundation building, and there's wellness rooms where you can go for 15 minutes to
Oh,
decompress and
Oh, wow.
De-stress if that's needed, self-regulate. And those are things that we do understand in the organization that we do, right? Working with youth, you get to hear stories, so we understand, compassion fatigue and all those things. So if there's ever a need to go and decompress, take a 5-minute break, those are things that we do for our employees.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
Oops. But
So-
no naps. Sorry.
No naps. Well,
We're not there yet.
I had to ask. It becomes important in semi-retirement, let me just tell you.
Okay.
Down the road, you've got many years to worry about that. So, I think Aliento is as we talked about at the beginning, is a special organization, and because of the services you provide and because of the way you structured it, you've got a lot of things going for you in helping these young folks thrive. Not all organizations are structured that way. Not all organizations are serving that audience. So, what would you tell a manager at a more conventional organization? What are the one or two things that maybe they would focus on to help their young folks thrive?
I think number one, try to understand where they're at culturally, right? I know it takes time because you might need to do research, right? You might need to ask your neighbor and say, hey, you have a kid that's an 18-year-old. Tell me more what they're into, right? Mm-hmm. Try to gauge their interests, right? Try to gauge where they're at. I think that's such a huge piece to, like, one, building the rapport with the Gen Zer. I'm trying to think what would be the next tip for that.
So let me just, on that one, are you basically saying understand, if you're not around Gen Z people at home, try to understand people of that age group,
yes,
right?
Because
culture, worldview.
Because I'm just thinking, like, sometimes you're gonna go to very, like, standardized, conservative organizations, right? Mm-hmm. In a way, where, like, a lot of their practices are still adhering to, like, old protocols that they have, right? So it's also, how do you as an organization allow change and adaptability to this new workforce? And I think that's a conversation that needs to happen at the larger tables, at the bigger tables, because that is really what's going to help to bring these Gen Zers into the workforce, because, like, there is a huge shortage across the board with, job opportunities. And we also see a lot of, Gen Zers trying to look for the next position, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about how do you have those conversations in your workplace to design a system that really supports this new generation that's coming in.
It's great. So those are two things. Understand them and be open to changing.
Be open to change. I would say, like, those two are the biggest ones.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And they're going to be the biggest demographic in our workforce before long, right? So all organizations
like
need to make these adjustments.
Correct. Yeah. We have such a huge pool of students that are graduating college, that are, still in high school, and you're going to need to make those changes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good advice.
It takes bravery and courage and willingness. So please make those changes for your young Zers. You'll see the fruitful out of that, right? Because you'll see them thriving. They're going to bring a lot to the organization in a different way that maybe that was the norm before. So I think it's really valuable to make those changes.
That's wonderful. I think we're about at closing time.
Oh, wow.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think just I say no, and then I have a million things to add. Don't ask me that question, please, because then we're going to be here for another 10 minutes.
One more thing.
Just understand that Gen Zers are willing to take new challenges and willing to innovate and create. So as a new employer, use that to your benefit and help your organization to move into the right direction. Yeah,
they've got some fresh energy.
They do.
So let them use it.
Let them use it, yeah. So that's the only one thing.
That's great.
I was like, let me summarize it in a quick way.
Can I say one more thing before you close? I just want to tell our listeners that, we didn't go into all the background of what Aliento does today because we've done that in previous shows. So I would say look back at season 1, and I think it was episode 2 that we had Reina from Aliento.
Was Reina our second guest?
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
So you can get all that background of the great services that Aliento provides and why they exist in that first season.
Great. That's a good ad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Tim and Amanda. It was great having this conversation about Gen Zers and, having these open discussions, right, about them and, how do we support them. So thank you so much. It's with great gratitude that I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you have a lot of experience, so I'm glad you came on here to share.
Yes.
All right. And thank you to our listeners. So we'll see you next time. Be well and keep moving. This has been Mind and Body at Work with the East Valley Leader Lab. Please click on the link in the show notes for a description of our newest offer, Helping Gen Z Thrive at Work. This is our embodiment training to help new young workers integrate into your organization.
As always, if this content resonates with you and your cares, please like, share, and/or subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Be well and keep moving.